don't want to do an intro for this because it's been a while. It's been like a month since the video has been on the channel, but we're back with the Weebcast. It is going to be a much more chill episode this time because we have, as usual, not everyone. I don't think we've ever had. There's been like 2 episodes where we had everybody, and now that we have more people, it's going to be impossible.
What do you mean more people? We're just like 5, I think, in total.
Well, I mean, there was it was just 4 of us, and now there's 6 of us. There's just Nator hasn't shown up in an episode yet because he's been busy a lot. I might
To be honest, I didn't even know he existed.
He's done art for the channel. He did one of my thumbnails.
Oh, he has the pro tag as from Kekai Sensen.
Yes, that is a pretty good show. I have not seen season 2, but I've heard it's good.
I haven't seen season 2 yet either.
But I did like the first season quite a bit. But
Facts. Same.
Yeah, we are. It has been a while since I have done a video on the channel. I think it's been about a month now. And the big reason for that is because I have moved. So this is not the first video I've recorded in the new apartment, but it is the first video I've recorded in the new apartment that will be going up, because the Anime Vault won't go up until Friday. And in that month, quite a bit has happened. We're in the new season for a bunch of new anime that's come out. There has been some news. There's been some pretty big stuff. We have we have Dragon Ball returning back with Daima, as well as getting Sparking Zero, which everyone continues to talk about, especially in our group.
Yeah.
And then we have the return of a few other shows. I think Tower of God Season 2 came back, or Tower of God came back somewhat recently. It was either this season or last season. I think it was last season, wasn't it? I can't remember.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was last season.
We have Shangri-La Frontier Season 2, which I'm waiting for more to get out, so that way I could just start binging it, because it was a really good show from like a few seasons ago. I think that was from spring 2024 or winter 2023. I can't remember it was one of those.
Oh, that I don't know.
I just know it was a good show. Anyone who hasn't seen it, the best way I can describe it is basically think if SAO was good. That's the easiest way to explain Shangri-La Frontier, because it's similar. It's like, it just
have incest.
No.
Thank God, it's already.
No,
It came out October last year.
Okay, there is one romantic partner for the main character, but they're not related in the slightest. And she's a shy nerd girl who continues to try to get his attention, despite the fact that he's a constant gamer and doesn't fucking pay attention to that. Because pro gamer moves, dies virgin.
Yeah. Yeah, he's too busy saying shit like Sigma and calling people racial slurs.
No, he's too busy finding out ways to exploit games, because the way that Samuraku plays games is, in his world, VR gaming is normal. They got the big complicated VR headsets. But most of them are trash. Like, they're absolutely garbage. And he's made a practical career out, not a career, like he's not actually like a streamer or anything like that, but he's made a habit of finding out every way to exploit and break all of these games to the point where he's a master at it. He's the trash gamer. He's a trash panda. So when he hears about Shangri-La Frontier, which is actually really, really good, he's like, all right, I'm gonna play that. And it's basically his journey through that. And it also involves a bunch of other games that they go through, because some of the characters will meet in a different game to discuss plans. And it's just a lot of fun, honestly. Like, the stakes are not high for a while of it, because it's a video game, and they're not getting trapped in there like an SAO. They're literally just trying to play a game and such. But it's fun. Like, it's a good fun.
Ooh, I'm excited because I've seen there was this one Chinese anime that came out that was basically that same premise, just SAO but good. And it had great animation, but the story just bored me I didn't even get past the first episode.
And this one's quite fast with a lot that happens. Like they get a lot done in 20 episodes. I mean, in the first episode, he ends up fighting one of the bosses. Well, it's not like the main boss, but he does fight a boss. Also, the animation is real good, like real good. There are some episodes where I notice can't remember. There are some notices there. If I could speak, some episodes where I notice a drop in quality. But like the one where they fight the Tomb Guard, that's like a 3-episode fight. It is gorgeous. I can't remember what studio it is. Let me look that up really quick. Shangri-La Frontier Studio. Let's see. Let's go to my anime list because they'll tell me faster than Google. It was Studio C2C. I don't know that one.
Yeah, I never heard of it.
I thought it was gonna be Studio Wit because they've been doing a lot recently.
Yeah.
Have they?
Yeah, I mean, like they've been doing fucking Spy Family, and they got their hands full with the One Piece remake coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, they're currently doing Fishman Island.
Yeah. I'm excited to see that because I think a lot of people's biggest gripe with One Piece is the fact that the pacing is too slow, which makes it so that the anime feels a lot longer than it is.
Well, I think it's still being made by Toei, but the remake is something completely different.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah, no, but because the episodes are like the arcs are a lot shorter in episode length. Because I think like some of them are like 20 or 30 episodes shorter.
Yeah. Dude, I can literally go on for hours about this shit. I'm very passionate about why that One Piece anime is ass.
You know what? The floor is yours.
Oh my God.
And like both of you, honestly, have watched a lot more One Piece than I have because I've seen a decent amount of it. I've kept up a bit with what's happened recently in the anime and a little bit in the manga. Not like a ton, and I also enjoy One Piece theories. Because Oda, as much as I'm not a huge One Piece fan,
has the best theories, honestly, out of major anime.
I will say that Oda does a really good job at connecting things, which gives people a lot of fuel to think of. Oh, what could this be? What could the One Piece be? What could this or that? And it's honestly kind of fun to listen to. So I mean, the floor is yours. Like I said, English again. I speak it primarily, yet not all the time.
It's okay. Words are hard, especially when you're brain dead.
Words are hard, especially when I'm a fucking moron. But all I wanted to do was talk about like collecting in physical media. But we could start out with talking about One Piece, especially with that. And we could have mentioned Dragon Ball Daima, but I don't fucking care about it. So, like, I mean, it's cool that Toriyama worked on it, and I don't want it to fail. Like, I'm sure that it's probably at least fine. But I don't even really like Dragon Ball that much anyway, and the premise did not interest me in the slightest.
Honestly, same. Like I fell off Dragon Ball like years ago because it's not so character focused, which
it hasn't been
that's like a big
for
thing
a long
for me.
time.
Right, exactly. Like I gave up around like the Broly saga, I think.
That's fair.
So like relatively early on.
That's fair. I think honestly, I'm in the mindset that I personally would have wanted Dragon Ball to end with Z.
I know a lot of people who have that mindset.
Now, I don't say that like it's a absolute travesty that we got Super in the first place, because a lot of people really like it, and some people enjoy it, and they just like seeing their favorite franchise back. And to them, that's great.
Right.
But to me, I feel as though it's kind of damaged the IP a little bit, because it feels so. To go on a small tangent, I think all of us can agree that one of the biggest appeals of anime, especially when it was coming over to the West, was that it was something new and fresh, and we were getting stuck in this realm of monotony with media, right? Like comic books were all the same, movies were all the same, we were seeing all the same stuff. So when this new like art style and these new shows were coming up, people were like, "Ooh, what's that?" And one of the big ones was Dragon Ball. You know, like it was one of the easily one of the biggest anime in the West, and it's the biggest anime in the world since like it makes a fuck ton of money. The only other one even competing it is Gundam, honestly, and that's mostly because Gundam's been around for so damn long, and Gunpla sets sell for a lot, and they're very popular.
One Piece competes with it pretty well too, especially recently. But go on.
Yeah, but like with Dragon Ball being kind of the poster child of anime, and with anime like combating the ideas of a lot of like Western tropes and the monotony of it, it is kind of sad to see that Dragon Ball, in a sense, is kind of mimicking a lot of the same mistakes that we were upset with like comic books and stuff for a while, because you know we were saying like, oh, we're back to the status quo and it's going on for too long, and then it's like, oh, Dragon Ball's cool, and then it starts doing the same things, like it's going on too long, it's more about
and now we got
and
alternate dimensions.
Like it's getting to that same point where like I don't know.
It's getting monotonous, is what it is.
Yeah, like it's and the thing about Dragon Ball is that even though there were mistakes with like Z and such, and some of the choreography wasn't always the best, like there was still a lot of like martial arts involved, right? And sometimes you see that in Super, but I don't see it enough. Like in Z, it's a problem every so often. In Super, it's a problem very often. It's hard to get invested.
Yeah.
It's more of just like when the Jiren fight came out, I was watching it like because I was like, oh, the animation's finally good, and because it hadn't been that great for so long in Super, it was very average. Because Toei, I've gone on record to say that Toei is doesn't make the best animation typically. They're very standard at their core. They're more of the we do work fast.
That's putting it lightly.
Than we do work good.
And we do work consistently shit.
Yeah. There are worse studios, and they have a big legacy, and of course they have a lot of like really important shows. But yeah, they don't always do the best animation. So like when that fight came, I was like, oh wow, the animation's actually pretty cool. And you're like, we're also being like, oh, we're gonna beat Jiren after dicking around with this for so fucking long, and it's been irritating. And why the fuck is he still here? I was like, oh, this is cool, but it's also, I don't know. Anyway, that's my tangent done. Talk about One Piece, I guess.
I feel that. Oh, okay. I guess it
caught off guard. Be like, oh, you done ranting about Dragon Ball?
That's right. That's right. We didn't get to that topic.
This is why Noah continues to say I'm not a Dragon Ball fan. It's like I'm not. I just like the show. Z, at least.
Honestly, I'm on the same boat, but yeah. Okay, so the reason why I never recommend the One Piece anime after, like, say, Enies Lobby, more or less, is because of Toei and its, like, really shitty practices. So, Toei does this thing where instead of releasing an anime seasonally, they will just continue showing episodes nonstop. And for some people that could be good. Like, for the people who enjoy filler arcs, like, you know what, you do you. And they were doing that for a time, pre-time skip. But sometime during around Long Ring Long Land and Enies Lobby, they were, instead of making filler arcs, what they would do was they would adapt less and less of the manga. Normally when you're adapting a manga to an anime, you adapt about 3-4 chapters maybe into one episode. It started becoming 2 chapters. And then eventually down, we get to Dressrosa, and it's like 1 chapter.
Oh, Dressrosa was just famous for its bad pacing.
Because of that exactly. They would just extend reaction shots, add reaction shots, slow down fights, have little segments where like we talk about what's going on or what happened in the last episode. And it just basically boils down to like 7-minute episodes. And it's annoying because it's like, why the fuck would I want to sit through all this shit? And for all the issues that Fishman Island had in its storytelling, the pacing just exacerbated that. Because we had like 2 episodes where Zoro was just fighting Hody Jones. And he one-shot the dude, so we can imagine like how long that took. Wait, Tom, are you trying to say something? Because I see your thing lighting up, but you're not saying anything.
Was it lighting up? Shit.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were trying to say something, but you, like, I don't know, had your volume down or something.
I know you're the other big One Piece guy instead of John.
Let's see, is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
But what else can I say about One Piece? I mean, aside from, like, also the animation quality just being ass up until Wano.
I'm about to say, Wano got really good.
Yeah, it got really good because, I don't know. Yes, that too, and I'm happy. I'm so happy about that because before that, like, yeah, you can catch an animation an animation error in, like, every anime. Like, point me to one that doesn't have one.
Oh, yeah.
But with One Piece, they're very obvious and they're very consistent.
The other thing, too, is,
like you could watch... Go ahead.
You go.
Okay. Like, I remember watching Marineford, and there were just moments where, like, a character, not even in the background, like one of the, like, it would be like a scene with like 2 or 3 characters, and like one of them would not have a face, and it's not like they were like from far away, like you could still see them like relatively close to the others, and he just wouldn't have a face, or they would draw over, like, not draw over, but like color the eye with the skin tone color, and it's just weird.
I think with any kind of animation, regardless of like the good animation, bad animation, obviously there's going to be a level of human error and like shortcuts you need to take.
Oh, 1000%.
And this is typically in the realm of like background stuff. So I typically don't really like. A lot of people will point to like background or like far away stuff and be like, "Look at that." And I'm like, yeah, it's drawn from far away. It's difficult to draw things that are far away and still make them look good, unless you want to like do a very, very high definition image. And like be one that's like you could literally zoom in like 8 times and have it be the same definition as like a regular like TV screen, which is very impractical to do for animation. If you're making like a single picture, you can do that easily. Well, not easily, but you can definitely do that. But animation, no. So like, I've seen that stuff in One Piece, and I've been like, that's not a big deal, you know, like, and then obviously see it in the foreground. You're like, all right, now we're getting to a problem. You see anatomy
issues. That's what
issues,
I mean,
like
okay. It's in the foreground.
And it's not even, like, one thing that I always get annoyed, too, is people will point to, like, certain moments of Sakuga or in-between frames, and they're like, it's like, oh, look at the anatomy of this. Like, I remember when Solo Leveling was almost done, there was one part where Song's arm is a little, like, off, but it's because it's in between, like, it's like literally for a few frames. It's an in-between for like a really exaggerated, very fluid movement. People are like, oh, like, you know, who let them cook? And I'm like, this is the same argument where people made like where Sasuke's head was like spinning around, and I'm like, it's literally there for a frame, and it's made to like enhance the movement. It's not supposed to be something you really notice unless you're combing through the frames or you have like a very keen eye, and I always get upset about that. But I've noticed in One Piece it's more noticeable than just a frame or 2.
Yeah. It's fucking annoying. I hate it.
Same with Dragon Ball. That's happened too. It's happened to a lot of Toei animation stuff. Again, the Legacy Studio.
I'm probably a big fan of Toei because it's like they just do that shit constantly.
Like, I don't know. When it comes to there are kind of the big ones of shonen, but like when I think of like today, I point more to like Bones or who made everyone mad with JJK? Who's doing JJK again?
I have no idea who's what?
Mappa's a big one, even though like the animation's great, but obviously the treatment of staff is a little
Yikes.
Big yikes.
Wait, slavery is illegal?
Well, you know what happened with Mappa and JJK season 2, right?
I've heard rumblings, but
it was like a really big crunch.
Yeah, that's what I'd heard.
Where like workers would like not be able to go home or be unconscious. This happens a lot in like
I did not know that people were going unconscious.
Actually, I don't remember if they did. I think I heard a rumor, but I don't know if it's true or not because a lot of things get said on.
I heard about like people not going home.
Yeah, I know that.
The unconscious thing, holy shit.
I mean, to be fair, that does happen. That does happen, especially in Japanese like workplaces, where people will just like pass out because they don't get enough sleep because they overwork themselves.
That's fucking scary.
Yes, it does happen a lot where it's kind of normalized, and it's it's both respectful and terrifying. But that might have obviously happened because of overworking, because they were overworked super hard. Granted, JJK Season 2 looked fucking fantastic. But obviously you can like watch it and you can feel the spines of the animators being broken over Bane's knee and shit like that, like this fucking Batman.
Damn.
you just you're like, oh wow, that animation's great. You hear cracking in the distance. What was that? That was just son of a poor animator's spine being torn open.
My back is now hollow and purple.
Christ. It's just like oh wow, man, this anime is being carried by the animators. It's a shame they'll never be able to walk again because of that.
Damn.
But like, yeah, with Toei, their animation is often just kind of like cheap. I will still say that obviously like we can harp on them, but they've
hold up. There's one more thing I have to add, and I'm sorry for interrupting. People are complaining now that One Piece is going on a break. That's because motherfuckers, look at the chapter count and look at the episode count. It's almost the exact same.
Yeah.
I think the difference is like not even 100 chapters. And which is crazy. And that's the reason why they're on break, is because otherwise the episode count is going to surpass the manga count, which should never happen.
No. It just shows how atrocious the pacing is.
Exactly. Well, yeah, sorry, keep going.
Like it's I forgot what I was going to say, but like for that, like the general standard I think is like 2 to 3 chapters an episode.
Something like that.
Because I know My Hero was kind of that way, where they adapt like 3 chapters or so an episode.
Yeah.
And that's kind of made it so. Well, originally I thought this was going to be the last season, but now it's going to be another one, which was. I thought season 7. Is this season 7 or season 8?
I think it's
the final season.
Well, yeah, we're getting another season, which I did not expect. I thought this would be the last one. That was a
given, honestly. There is no way they could wrap it up this season.
I did kind of start to have that feeling towards the end, because like when it started airing and it was getting to the war arc, I'm like, oh, we're gonna be finishing this season. And then when I was seeing the episode, because if it was like 26 episodes, I could see it finishing this season, maybe if they were to crunch it together. But now
that's why we had the recap episodes before season 7 started.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, like I didn't know there was going to be another season. Granted, that does.
There's like 10 episodes. It won't be too long.
Okay, so currently
it's only
we're
10?
on 7 seasons.
Probably they can't do much of it.
I'm about to say because
that's not.
Because we just had the fight with All Might, which is very near the end of the manga, isn't it? From what I remember.
Yeah.
It's like very close to the end of it.
It's like chapter 390, I think.
Out of
or 420.
Oh, okay. Then they honestly really shouldn't be able to do more than like 15 episodes. So it'll be a short season. But like like My Hero was adapting it a lot faster, and like they've done more story in less time because of that.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk a little bit about something else, because I mentioned this before in another chat, but I've never really had a good shop for buying anime merchandise near me, because they've always been closer to Boston, and navigating through Boston is the equivalent of wanting to kill myself. Driving to Boston is horrible. And I would rather walk through Boston, but that's also much like I have to find a place to park, and then walking through, and then walking back. It is but like that's where I would always be, because I was close enough to the city where I could get to places like to the airport and such in a decent time.
Yeah.
But it also meant that pretty much all the shops I'd want to go to, like that, are going to be in the city. So now that we're farther away from there, I think I'm like about an hour from Boston now. One of the first things I did in our new town is I searched shops nearby, because I already knew there's a gaming cafe that's near me, which has been nice to go to, and I plan on going again probably next weekend. But there was a shop that was near me. There was a little figure shop, and it was very cute. I originally thought it was gonna be like a whole bunch of stuff, but they prioritized just figures in there. I think the guy said that they're roughly only a few weeks behind Japan in terms of like merch, so they're pretty up to date. So they were only a few weeks behind. So obviously there's some figures that are going to come out that won't come out here for a bit, but that's still like very fast. And they had a pretty good selection too, and that kind of made
what they have.
It was a good mixture of there was a whole bunch of Anyas from his like Spy Family. Towards the back wall there was some JJK stuff. In the center there was like some of those like I forgot what the fuck they're called. The ones where you buy something and like you hope for a random figure that's inside.
But I want to say pachinko, but I don't think that's it.
No, it's not that. But they had stuff like that. There was actually a Shangri-La Frontier character. I know there was Kaiju number 8 there as well. I saw Rimuru.
I haven't seen that yet.
It's pretty good. I really did like it. My one complaint with Kaiju number 8 is that I really enjoyed it when I first watched it, and then it was ruined slightly when I looked at the manga, and like I still think the anime is great. Don't get me wrong. The manga art style is definitely better.
Yeah.
It's definitely
Soul
better.
Eater had the opposite effect. Because Soul Eater, the first few chapters were like in terms of art, and then the anime came in and improved the style, and then the mangaka, I forget his name, he replicated that style onto the manga.
Yeah.
Soul Eater?
Yeah.
Yeah, for Soul Eater. Like look at look up chapter 1 Maka. Huh?
I think Okubo's the author, if I remember correctly.
Okubo? Yeah. I think that's his name, I'm pretty sure.
Fire Force Season 3 is happening, but I'll get to that in a second.
About time.
Right?
Yeah.
But like if with Kaiju number 8, like the manga art style is definitely. But like I'm blanking on his name at the moment. I just remember Old Dude because that's what one of the characters called him as like a as his nickname because he's in his 30s. And that's very uncommon for a main character in an anime.
You never lied.
But like I saw his manga design and I think I like it a lot more. Because apparently the all of the people on the staff for Boruto were working on Kaiju number 8.
Man, fuck Boruto.
Well, okay. It's still the great writing, great characters, and great story and world that's in Kaiju number 8, but it's got some of the story, it's got some of the art direction of Boruto, so you can see that when you look at like the character changes and how they kind of look. So I think the character designs are worse, but they're still good. Like they're still good. I still highly recommend watching it. But they had a figure for that, and then along the side wall. There were a bunch of other ones. It was a good assortment. A lot of the quote unquote sexy waifu ones were out because the guy was saying like they're the most popular ones for obvious reasons.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
But they had a pretty good selection of like some very well known shows and then some that I couldn't really recognize so much like niche ones. But this kind of made me think about like what do you guys kind of collect like to collect? Because obviously I've said before that I like to collect physical anime. Because I think the preservation of media, particularly physical media, is very important, especially.
I want to start doing that once I start working again. Start collecting physical anime.
It is. I do it particularly for shows I either like. They're my favorite shows or ones that I really like that I want to own. Because there are some that I have that I would not consider my favorites, and I would rate maybe only like a 7. But they're ones that even though objectively, I think they're only like good. Subjectively, I really like them, or they were some of the first ones I watched. Like one of the ones I own is Grenadier, which I can kind of describe as Trigun with tits.
Damn.
Like there's a
description.
There's a famous GIF of Russian of the main character, kind of like spinning around, and the rounds for her pistol pop out of her boobs, and then she reloads that. It's a very famous GIFs. I will say though, the show is pretty good. Russian is a very fun character. Her entire arc, her entire way of going into fights is similar to Vash. She does not shoot to kill. She usually shoots to disarm because she doesn't like killing people. and her way to win is she wants to take away a person's will to fight, and typically that involves hugging. In fact, the manga I believe is called the Smiling Senshi, or Grenadier the Smiling Senshi. And even though objectively, like, the show is probably about a 7 out of 10, I would still recommend watching it because it's still pretty fun and the characters are entertaining.
I mean, the bitch wins by attack hugging. You already won me over with that.
Well, she doesn't attack hug. It's more of like she's very nice. She's very friendly. She has a big, cute smile. And there's like she'll hug
larger tits.
Yes, and typically when she hugs, face and boob. But also, who's gonna want to fight at that point? So it's genuinely a valid strategy. But like, I like that. She's such a powerful fighter, but she chooses not to use violent ways, and it's interesting, and the way she bounces off everyone is fun too. And I'm not talking about tits in that sense. But it's not like an amazing show, but I own it because it was one of the first anime that I watched when I started getting into anime. Because I remember seeing the manga advertised in some of the other manga that I was reading. Like, I would see the Smiling Senshi, and I was like, oh, that looks kind of interesting. And then it kind of popped up it kind of showed up in my attention. One, because of the GIF. Two, because of AMV Hell, which if anyone out there recognizes that, then thank you, you're a champion. Also, you're old as fuck. Because AMV Hell 3 came out in 2004.
I don't know what that is.
That was classic YouTube right there. That's back when the YouTube layout was ugly as shit.
That was back in the day when we still had the elephant video pop up in our feed.
AMV Hell 3 was when Naruto was new.
Damn, I fucking loved old ass AMV.
But it was one of those. So AMV Hell was more of a comedy kind of thing. And they've still done videos, but one of the ones I'll always remember is there's this clip of Kakashi and he pulls his mask down and it shows these women's lips and he's like, I love my lips, and then he pulls it back up. That's it. And then it does then it does it fades to a static TV. It does the of static, and then it goes to the next one. It's these small skits, and I remember there was one because I watched it again recently, and it shows what's the in Bleach the one captain with the scientist with the creepy ass face.
Fuck ass Mayuri.
Sure, maybe. Is that his name?
That's him. Yeah, Mayuri Kurotsuchi.
Okay, yeah. I was like, when I think of Mayuri, I think of Steins Gate. But it's him with his Bankai with the baby, and you just see, damn, that's ugly, baby, and then, and
Is that where you got it from?
Yeah, no, and that's kind of where I got it from, yeah, because I remembered, I've seen that skit before, but I saw that, it was so fucking funny, because I watched that when I was fucking 11, and then, that whole bit is just great, but there was one of the song Click Click Boom, as it shows the final fight between Rushina and one of her rivals. Oh, well, not one of her rivals, her literal own rival. And it's just
one of her rivals, her literal only one.
I've corrected myself, the only one that she has, because they both are trained by the same person, but I'm giving too many spoilers. But it shows that, and it's just click, click, boom, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. The animation's pretty nice. Also, I was a teenager, so, big titty. I was like, ooh,
Yeah, for me, I had, as a teenager, had, massive Chun-Obio syndrome.
Oh, God.
It was embarrassing. We don't talk about teenage one.
That makes me think of, so essentially, you were Eminence and Shadow. You were Shadow, because he's a massive Chunbyo.
Yeah.
See, that's a fun show. I like that show. Noah recommended. See, Noah and my roommate really recommended that one, and I finally sat down.
Forever.
It's pretty good. I like it. It's definitely one of the better isekai, in my opinion, because it's kind of It's in.
Well, that was before the trend came out.
I mean, the manga maybe, but the anime no. The anime
really?
only started
came out sooner.
No, the anime only like season 2 aired last year, and season 1 was like a year or two before that. It was like pretty well into isekais. Like there were 2 seasons of Slime out by then.
Why the fuck? Why the fuck do I remember watching it like earlier? I don't fucking know. Maybe
I don't know because it's not that old. It's very recent. But like it came out during that time when isekai is like starting to get kind of self-aware, so they were not entirely just the getting sent to another world is the whole whole story, and that's why it gets kind of old. That's why when people talk about like the fucking vending machine, they're like, oh, they're doing this now, and I'm like, good. Like we need new stuff. We need something different. This is why one of my favorite isekai was Komodo Michi Rise Up, where the whole if you don't know it, the premise is the person sent to another world is a pro wrestler who really likes animals. Like he wants to open up a pet shop. So when he gets sent to this other world, and he's like sent into like the church, and like the princess of the kingdom is there, and she's like, monsters are attacking our people. We need your help. And he suplexes her. And he's like, I'm not going to kill animals. And he decides to abandon that duty and go open a pet shop.
I love this. What is it called again?
Komodo Michi Rise Up. It's pretty fun. Apparently, it ends at the right spot because the manga gets weird after that. But like the villain that's like summoned is his wrestling rival. Like his wrestling rival is summoned, and that's like the big fight of the two of them. The end of the season isn't just like this big battle; it's literally it's a wrestling match. Like, and some of the characters are fighting. One of my favorite bits is I'm forgetting her name, but she's like a wolf girl, and she's like the main companion of him.
Oh, but of course, it's an isekai. You gotta have your half animal character.
She's not a slave though. She's not a slave though. So there's that. There's none of the very uncomfortable stuff about slavery. If anything, it's the animals are. There's none of that at all. There's another great bit that where he fights a werewolf, but he obviously loves dogs. The way he defeats him, he just starts petting them.
I love it.
But one of my favorite bits with her is he continues to get called into the guild, and it's like, oh, you're strong. You got to fight the monsters, and so he knocks out like the big heroes who were like telling him to do that, and they drop their really expensive, really good equipment. So she's like, oh no, someone dropped the sword of golden light. I guess no one would mind if I go pick it up. And in the next episode, she just has more money. She keeps picking up this guy's expensive equipment and then sells it.
I love it.
It's great. Like it's really fun. Like this is why isekai when it takes itself like only a little seriously, but like it's still the premise of like this random person going to another world. That's where I think it's the most fun, instead of being like, it's like, oh, the ultra series. This is why I liked Eminence in Shadow, because he's such a fucking edgelord, and he gets everything right, but he doesn't know it. He's a fucking moron for that. Like he predicts everything correctly, but he is the only one who doesn't think he's right. He's like, they're all believing in my schemes. It's like these, or they're really great actors getting into this silly game I've made. And he always misses the important plot points, so he doesn't realize he's actually stopping the main bad guy. He doesn't realize everything he said is correct, and he's always trying to be a background character. So he is literally despite being the strongest character and the most important part of the plot, he is the only one who doesn't know the plot. And that's why I like it. Among other reasons. But
yeah.
Back to my original...
like the girl with the wolf ears, yeah.
But actually, I'll talk about isekai a bit. Like, I did a video about isekai, about like, will it ever die? Do you guys think isekai?
I don't.
Like, do you think it will?
Yeah, sorry. Tom, you go first because I've been yapping.
Well, isekai die? No, it won't.
Same. I have the same opinion.
I think that it's kind of gonna happen in the similar way of like mecha, because mecha was super like influential and popular and very important to the anime industry in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. because like it was a massive merchandise, like it just selling like sets left and right, and Gundam is a really important name in like the anime industry,
Yeah.
Like I mentioned before, like the two most influential are Dragon Ball and Gundam, and it's not the same as what it used to be because the genre has been like falling off throughout the years. I think ever since like the 2010s, it's kind of been falling off. Granted, it's made a little bit of a resurgence more recently, which is nice because we've seen some come out. But I think
yeah, go ahead.
There you go.
Okay, I was just gonna say that anime is kind of like fashion in that genres just come in and come out in terms of trends.
Yeah, which is why
like right now in terms of a lot of manga, we're seeing a lot of spy and assassin themed manga.
Oh yeah,
coming out, like the one about the convenience store owner, spy family, obviously. The one with I forget what it's called, but it's like really cute and I want to see it. It's the one where they're a couple and one marries into her like family of spies or whatever.
I don't think I know that
one. And
the
main character has red hair. I forget what it's called, but I remember seeing like clips of it randomly on Twitter and it was so cute.
I'm not the fan send that to me.
Yeah.
I know there's also one airing right now where a guy finds a maid and she turns out to be an assassin.
Okay, that I did not know was a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure like isekai is currently I think it's currently on a downward trend, but we're gonna see it pop back up maybe like 5-10 years maybe not even that.
I think one of the things that's also kind of contributing to isekai getting less and less popular is the return of like traditional fantasy.
Yeah.
Because
that's gotten more popular in recent years.
Because like going back to like the kind of collection thing, when I went to the store and we were talking to like the owner, because we talked to them for a bit about like stuff, and he was like the three biggest like anime stuff in America right now is JJK, One Piece, and Freerin.
No surprise there.
And like I wasn't surprised either because I knew like I knew One Piece was going to be up there because One Piece has like always been quite popular since it came out. JJK also kind of expected. Freerin I expected pretty well too, because it hits right in that vibe of Dungeons and Dragons. And for the last 5-6 years, I think kind of around the time of Critical Role, when that kind of started popping up. Oh, and a little bit before that, but around that time. That's when D&D really started getting popular and mainstream. Because obviously it's been around since like the 70s and such. 70s or 80s. But it was always seen as just kind of like underground, super duper nerdy thing. Where like it's like, oh, you play D&D, then you probably haven't seen the sunlight. Whereas like now, we have like these really... Like we have voice actors who... All of them are very attractive people. Like they're very popular people. They're very funny people. And they're openly playing D&D, and like it's such a normal thing, and also we've been seeing like kind of a return of like movies and such, and obviously like fantasy books have always been very popular, but books have always been kind of a different trends, if anything. I think fantasy and romance have always been the two most popular. Thrillers are also up there. Those are the three big ones.
Romance, definitely. Romance is the best-selling book genre, like in terms of novels. I mean, words English is hard, especially when you're bilingual.
But like with and Don Machi also as well as and kind of been contributing. Season 5 is airing now, I believe.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So?
Which. I think so. I think it's supposed to be in this season because I saw new clips and I was like, I don't recognize that. Which I'm wondering where they're gonna go because the last season was dark as fuck.
Wait, of which anime?
Of Danmachi. Is it wrong to pick up Girls?
Danmachi, I haven't seen it yet.
I would recommend checking it out. It is pretty good. It's generally in the 7 to 8 out of 10 range, I would say. I think it started out closer to 7 out of 10, but it's been getting to a very interesting spot where some of the world and stuff, and then the tone, and especially with these last two seasons, season 3 and 4, was getting really good. season. Just also a forewarning. Juanito, have you seen Fire Force season 2?
I haven't. I haven't seen anything of Fire Force yet. I've been debating whether or not to watch it.
It's good. Watch it.
Okay, bet.
It definitely watch it.
The Sean and the Tom are recommending it.
The one thing that holds it back is what's her name?
You two could become wonton if you did Dragon Ball Fusion.
Is kind of overblown.
It is overblown a bit, but she is something that definitely kind of retracts.
Tawaki's the girl that looks like Maka, who's also a cat, right?
Yes. And she's kind of the fan service character, and there's a few moments where it's very distracting. But admittedly, where season 2 kind of ended, it shows more of her character. So there is still a good character behind that. So I would say she's not like bad. She's decent.
Okay. Okay, so kind of like a Pirate Metro situation.
But that's about it.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
But
it hasn't happened yet. But there's one, like probably the worst Tamaki moment out of all of them is yet to come.
Oh, okay. I think my so far was when they were doing the raid, and that was kind of, come on guys, but okay, since you haven't seen season 2, I was gonna mention that because Tom, there's a part where they go to do a raid and it gets, oh my god.
Well, she gets naked.
No, shit gets more violent than I expected. Like, there's a point where someone shows up, and I'm like, it's like, oh, cool. And then, like, moments later, oh, shit, he's super dead. But, like, with Season 4 of Danmachi overall has this more, like, upbeat vibe to it. With fantasy,
To look up fucking Danmachi, because I don't remember that name, ever hearing it.
But
by the way, I looked up when Eminence and Shadow came out. It came out in 2022. That's why I remember it coming out like a lot earlier.
It's only 2 years ago.
Wait. Why do I feel so fucking old?
That's only 2 years ago.
For real.
Dude,
that's not that old.
Ancient. Okay, whatever. Fucking. Okay, I've never seen Danmachi, but I do recognize this image of like all the characters sitting around in some fuck ass grass field.
Yeah, no, Hestia was very very well known for in the waifu community for a while. Even though she's not the best girl in my opinion.
No, definitely not.
Fuck, what's the elf's name? Ryu. She's my favorite. Like, I mean, she was already my favorite even before Season 4, but Season 4 cemented that. All I'm going to say is, Juanito, if you start watching it, and you get to Season 4, and you start seeing more of her character arc, be prepared for the tone to get dark as fuck.
Damn, like, really? It just looks so happy.
Oh,
I mean, then again, like, you're lying April.
Oh,
like,
God.
Okay.
I want to say things, but honest. I can't. Let's just say that in certain parts, the animation is really good at showing some people become was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I won't say anything
gory, though?
I won't say anything more. I mean, gory, not really.
Like, on a scale of fucking censored ass anime to 4 Kids One Piece, on a scale of 4 Kids One Piece to like Hellsing.
I would if I was gonna say like something like that, I would have said the high end would have been what is the Elfen Lied would have been close to the higher end, honestly. Especially with that.
Okay, I'm gonna assume that's like manga Bleach. Like, where you see people's, like, fucking
the first episode in
in
Elfen Lied, there's a character you think is going to be important, her secretary, and then she gets her head chopped off, and then her body is used as a meat shield for bullets.
Okay, so, like, Hellsing-ish, almost.
Yeah, but it sits on the imagery a lot more, and it's far more disturbing than Hellsing is, because Hellsing is overplayed, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like, the gore is overplayed to the point where it's kind of, I don't want to say it desaturates itself, but it doesn't get uncomfortable until you get to the Rick Van Winkle part.
I'm just not big on gore. Like,
I wouldn't say it's gory
me.
necessarily. I mean, I would at least still watch the show, and if you get to the point where shit happens, just decide. But it's still worth checking out.
Okay.
Because there's a really good season 3 gets really good with like with discussion of like monsters and such. I won't say more than that. But like with fantasy kind of like popping up more and more, I feel like it's kind of competing with isekai, and people are enjoying like, you know, a more traditional fantasy a bit more. Because I think in general,
yeah,
like,
I'm glad you clarified that. Cause I'm like, wait a minute, like most anime is fucking fantasy. What do you mean?
Traditional fantasy.
Yeah,
like
I'm glad you clarified
you know,
traditional fantasy. Yeah.
Because I think
Ajnaj Derbatulek, yeah.
Because like I think traditional fantasy definitely lends itself to better storytelling than isekai. Because obviously you have to do exposition with isekai because the character's new to the world. Whereas with, you know, traditional fantasy, you can do expedition much more naturally. I've heard Dungeon Meshi does this really well.
That's fair. That's fair to say because so many people are so familiar with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
and what it entails.
With fantasy, it's honestly, I don't say it's easy, but once you figure out how to do like exposition, but do it in a way that doesn't feel like the audience saying, it doesn't feel like the writer saying, oh, this is this and this is this. It's more of like if you're in a general conversation and you talk about like a place that you want to go to or a place that you've been. Obviously, when we say things like our like of the vacations we've done, it's like, oh, all these things and like the normal commonplace stuff, like talk about the subway or something. If someone comes to this world and they've never heard any of that stuff, that would be like exposition to them. And fantasy can do that the same way. You know, just be like two characters talking about a specific ritual, but they're saying it as such a normal commonplace thing, you kind of realize, oh, all right, well, 1, magic is normal, 2, this ritual is normal, 3, that's how it works. Cool.
Yeah, like relying on context clues.
Yeah. And I think when you're really good at writing fantasy, which Dungeon Meshi and Freerun, I think everyone is in agreement are both really well written, then it shows a lot of the great strengths of fantasy. But I'm also biased because Freerun is one of my favorite anime of all time.
I want to watch it because everybody and their mom is just saying like it's the best shit. That's like the second coming of Christ. But
I'm gonna do another recommendation because I think I've already recommended like 5 shows in this podcast.
Something like that. I'm gonna have to look back at this podcast and be like with a little notepad.
If nothing else, and then again, all the shows that I've recommended so far, obviously I think people should watch. But if nothing else, if you're gonna watch anything, I'd recommend watching Freerun, and without like hyping it up or anything like that. The best way I can describe Freerun is that it's
I know of the plot. I know like the basic summary of it.
It's both very laid back and also very active. There's a lot of situations where the characters are kind of just going about their daily life. Daily life in question. Where maybe it's them trying to get through a city, and it's currently blockaded, so they kind of have to just hang around. And there's a lot of great context what these characters are like based on these rather average scenarios. So when you get to the more extravagant scenarios, like they have to fight monsters, you can get a much better idea on how they work off each other because you've already seen them in more ordinary scenarios. And the general hook of the story of just following, Freerun, the elf mage of the party who defeated the Demon King, after everything is said and done, it gives you a good idea of what you can expect, as well as like what to expect from Freerun. And without hyperbole on my personal part, I would say that Freerun is one of the best written female characters I've ever seen.
Everyone is saying that.
I love her so much.
This is why I'm more willing to like give Freerun a pass, because I've tried just watch the seasonal anime that's coming out, and it's like a lot of it just ends up being not as good as people recommend.
Mm-hmm.
But based on like everything that I've heard from Free Ren, and like what little I've seen, because I've tried to avoid it as much as possible. But okay, it's like what I would call Juancore.
So what you mentioned, I know you mentioned it towards the beginning when we were talking about Dragon Ball, about character base, because obviously, to you, character based stories are very important.
Yeah,
Characters at the very core of Free Ren.
That's why I'm willing to give it like. That's why I'm willing to like look into it because of that.
Every single storyline has something to do with one of the characters or is important to them in some way, or you learn about them throughout the story. It's not just, oh, they're front-faced and then, bam, nothing happens. You're learning more about Freeman, you're learning more about Fern, you're learning more about Stark. You're getting all these side characters that could very easily be main characters because they're like, you get a good feel of like who they are, the way they fit in the world, the way they interact with the main like trio, and they're just there temporarily, and it's kind of like upsetting where it's like I really wanted to see them, but you also watch them go, and you're like, I wonder what they're gonna do after that. The world feels lived in. Like I've loved
like this big ass like it. I know it pops between a lot between like when it like the past and the present.
Yes, because
time is just visibly age, but not Free Ren because she's like an elf, so she doesn't really age.
So
like a human does.
Time is a big thing. One of the big important plot points is the fact that Free Ren, being an elf, perceives time differently. So it's a running joke sometimes where they might be stuck in a location for a bit, and Freeman they're like, oh, we might be here for a few years, and Freeman goes, not long at all. You know, there's literally a point where like there's several points where someone's mentioned 10 years have passed, and like she literally just nonchalantly thinks that's not very long at all. You know, she perceives time so differently, and this is played both for laughs and for drama. Because obviously for laughs, because like there are times where the gang is like, we need to do this, and Freeman is just like, oh, but I want to read, or something like that. Or she gets stuck in jail at one point, and she's just like, well, guess I'm gonna be here for a bit, and she just sits there.
That's adorable.
But there's also points where like she kind of retroactively realizes something that she never really noticed, or in the first episode, her perception of time is a big point with her party, her old party, and it's, you can see it coming, but I still cried. Cried like a bitch.
I know one of them dies, and like yes. It's like one of old age, and another one of like something else, I think.
Yes, death is a big thing in the series as well. But
there's another thing that I fucking okay. I love themes of death in stories.
So
my first two animes were Soul Eater and Bleach. You can probably imagine why.
Yeah,
I'm into death. So that's why I want to give this like a look, because it's like, why the fuck are you so Juancore?
Freeman plays a lot to this idea of our impact on people, both when we're alive and after death. And there's this common theme that that the party they defeated the Demon King. You know, this is a really, really important thing. But as time goes by, elements of who they were and their story begin to get lost. So, like, there are times where people don't even recognize, like, that Freerin is the mage, even though there are literally statues of her all around, and she did such an important thing. Or people, like, you know, they heard a story of something Himmel did. Because that was, like, 50, 60 years ago. But it only takes that short amount of time for elements and facts and stuff to begin to fade away. So a lot of it is based on our impact of the world. And one of Freeman's biggest motivations is keeping that memory alive.
that makes sense, because it's like, yeah, as history goes on, like, people are gonna forget, like, and people are just gonna age out of, like, what was, like, big back then. Like, I'm not making sense because I'm fucking tired, but it's kind of like how if, like, people would stop, like, 30 years after World War II, people just stop talking about it.
Yeah. Like, and the big thing of why a lot of history today can be preserved and will be preserved for a lot longer is because of the internet. Because in general, it's just a much better way to keep like facts
Archive
there.
information.
Yeah, archive information. Even then, like the prevalence of
the Wayback Machine.
This is the Wayback Machine, but the prevalence of a lot of false information and like quote unquote fake news and all that other stuff, but like the actual like fake news and like misinformation kind of muddies that. But it's still easier to archive, so we can go back and be like, oh, so this happened. But obviously, in a world of fantasy, and even though there's magic, the magic system in Freerun is a lot different. And there's just going to be things that are lost. So time and death and legacy are really important elements in the show. And
I need to watch this show now.
Genuinely, I with recommending shows, it's difficult because obviously if you start hyping it up too much, people have expectations, and then if it doesn't meet that expectations, they get disappointed.
I'm gonna try and keep my expectations low.
I've
been trying to do this for this whole time because it's like,
when we
again,
were watching,
like I said,
when I was showing you Gurren Lagann, I didn't really want to hype it up too much. I just wanted to show you it, so that way you didn't have any expectation. You just had to see it, and obviously you had a very good time. Excuse me.
That was like somewhere between a 7 and an 8.
I thought that's fair. Now everyone's rating burps.
Well, I've been doing it for a minute now. I've been doing it since I met you. What the fuck do you mean? No everyone's doing it.
I know. It's funny because I started doing it because our roommate does
men. Your roommate started doing it?
My roommate has done it for a long time, like ever since she was young. And then she's got other people to do it, and then other people do it, get other people to do it, and it just kind of spreads. So
I could see that. Because it eventually gets funny. Just rating them.
Yeah, but I really do think that Freerun is a really good showcase.
It's encore.
And I think it's a very good showcase of what the strengths of fantasy can be. Because obviously when you hear like, traditional high fantasy, you're going to think of like stuff like Lord of the Rings. You're going to think of epic battles, elves, magic.
Game of Thrones.
But I think one of the strengths of fantasy is because it is such an open book, because you can literally do anything, like you can take elements from like past stories, like elves have evolved like more and more, and now people usually look at them more of a Tolkien way. Like people forget how much like Tolkien and Lord of the Rings really affected how people think of like modern day fantasy races. Like super hard. But obviously you can do whatever you want, and because of that you can also play with a lot of elements of characters, of themes and ideas and stories, and there's so much that can be done that a lot of people don't do. And I think Freerun is a good example of using this canvas of fantasy, and even though like it does follow like more of what you kind of expect with elves and such, but it does so in ways that feel fresh, and it looks at characters and stories and themes in a very in-depth light in this world that it's created. And because of that, it feels lived in, and it makes you invested more in the world and in the characters, instead of just saying we want to have a few cool characters and a few cool action scenes. It makes it so that the best way I can really describe it is every scene is important.
Oh.
Every little bit is important. Because it teaches you a little bit more about the characters and the world and the story.
That's deep. That's surprisingly deep, Sean.
Because like all the little reactions you can get from Freerun, whether it's comedic or not, tells you a little bit more about her.
Yeah.
And the
like her being in prison, being like, I guess I'm gonna be here a while. Let me just fucking read.
Yeah, or like Fern always like pouting at certain things. Like, you know, you get a better idea of like she is more of a stern character. And like the ways that she reacts to certain things or how she perceives, you know, Frieren or Stark show how she's like one, how she's grown up, and two, give you more of like what kind of character she is. And Stark is the same way. All these little moments add up into the big picture. And that's kind of how a lot of storytelling should be done, but it doesn't usually work that way with a lot of people because it's difficult. It's very difficult to think of every scene in that way and think, what can I do to advance the story and characters in such a small moment? But I feel like it does it. As do many of my favorite shows, admittedly. But I think Freeren's a very, very easy example to pick out.
Okay. Damn, if I didn't know any better, I would say like this video was sponsored by fucking Frieren.
I mean, so when I mentioned I wanted to do collecting, guess what I bought? Frieren figure.
It was
it's the one of so there's a running gag where she obviously likes to, you know, collect treasure. She's an adventurer. But she's also stubborn. So she will check every chest. And do you know what a mimic is?
Yeah. Everybody knows what a fucking mimic is.
She gets caught by mimics a lot. And it's the don't worry, it's none of the weird tentacle weird stuff. If anything, it's just
what is it, the one with the teeth?
Yeah, it's a chest with the teeth. So it just usually shows her like halfway into a chest being like, "Can someone help me out?" Or they're like, it's like, so Miss Frieren, it's gonna be a mimic, but what if it's not? Then it's a mimic. And the one I got is it's of her stuck in the mimic, and it's just like her just like kind of accepting it, just like stuck, feeling like, "Aw." And then
it's just adorable.
It's a very cute figure, and I love it. It's really high quality too, because the mimic, I expected it to be kind of like one figure, and it's like it's gonna be like half a body of Frieren and then like the mimic. But no, it has joints for the mouth, and you can take the Frieren figure out. And it's a full figure.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's adorable. Tom, do you collect stuff?
Just games, really. I used to collect figures, but they're so expensive now that it's hard to like buy them all the time.
Not as expensive as I think. At least not as expensive as it used to be.
Really?
I've lived a nomad.
Like, super high quality ones.
So because Good Smile has some ones that are usually a bit more affordable, like the pop-up parade ones, because they're usually like $30-$40, and sometimes even less than that. Whereas like obviously some other ones can be like $100.
I think my cheapest figure is like $70.
Jesus Christ! That Frieren figure I mentioned was only $40.
Oh, oops.
I mean, I'm not surprised. I've seen some figures on Amazon go for like hundreds of dollars. So
I mean, yeah, but I expected when you said cheapest, I'd expect like $50. You know?
Well, actually, no. There's a Cuba and Presto.
He's a high maintenance bitch. He wants to have his, good quality figurines, man.
You can still get good quality figurines that are only like $30. Like I have the pop-up parades of Kamina, Simon, and Yoko, and those are like $35.
A high class bitch, right, Tom?
What did I buy?
Is it the posable figures that you get?
Tom ignored me.
Sorry, I'm just looking up.
Like I know, there's one of Yoko, where the socks that she has actually like actual fabric instead of like plastic, and it's like multiple face. What the hell is multiple like different like faces that you can attach on, and it's fully posable, but it's also like $70. But it's in that way it's kind of similar to a Nendoroid. Nendoroids can also get a little pricier. I love them. Like they're kind of like a better Funko Pop.
Yeah, I always wanted to get the one of Cynthia from Pokemon.
Ooh, nice. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I have the one of Celti Sturluson from Durara. She was actually one of my first figures I ever bought. Because she was, funny enough, one of my first waifus. Because it was Yoko and Urza and then kind of her. And I still love Celti, don't get me wrong. She's still up there. She's a very fun character. If you've never seen Durara, the best... Celti is a Dullahan. But she is in modern Japan. So instead of like riding like a wagon, she drives a motorcycle, and she hides the fact that she has no head by wearing this bright yellow cat's motorcycle helmet. And she communicates by texting on a BlackBerry and then showing people the text.
That's why the bitch doesn't have a head, because she's a Doulahan?
Yes. She does. Well, she does have a head, but it's missing, and that's a big plot point. One of the other characters has stolen it. Well, it has it in their possession because she lost it a long time ago, and now
I've
they
never
have
seen Durara, but I've always seen clips of this bitch losing her fucking head.
It is very good, but she is the best character in my opinion. Because everyone has a different motive, so even the good characters are still a little shifty. But Celti is like very forward in the kind of character she is, and she's usually wrapped up in other things because she's a delivery person. You know, she's the one who brings packages back and forth, and she's great. But she's the first Nendoroid I bought. Then I had the one in Simone, and I have him forever in his pose of his speech from episode 11, where he has his arms crossed in the Gynax pose.
Love that shit.
Fuck yeah. And I do want to buy more. I just don't know who I would get because the Kamino and Yoko ones are expensive. Then again, they did do a re-release, so it might be a little cheaper now. But I could get the Freerun ones because that'd be fun. Ooh, I might also get one for Steins Gate too. See, now I'm thinking of all the stickers I can collect. Look, one of my favorite soundboards is Gerald has it, but it's the Final Fantasy VII, and it just cuts the Mary.
That's adorable.
I love it so much. Steins Gate is great. I love that show. It used to be my second favorite anime, and then more series came out that I think I like more, like Mob, and then Real Life, which is a incredibly underrated show, and then Freerun. So now it's down to like 5th. So
honestly, that's fair. That's fair. Because Mob is fucking amazing. I love Mob.
Oh, it's so good. Have you? Wait, you've started? You already watched season 1, didn't you?
Yeah, I haven't watched season 2 yet.
You will get to that. We'll get to.
Yeah.
I need to start doing anime nights again. But I've been obviously just like busy with shit, so we could.
I don't blame you.
We could start doing that soon.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna collect stuff, I think a good place to start would be like Good Smile products, because they're usually pretty accessible, and they're not too expensive, and they're good quality.
Okay. Because the thing is, okay, I've lived a relatively nomadic lifestyle for like.
So it's hard to collect stuff.
5 years. Yeah. So I always travel light.
Fair. I know
like,
that feeling.
There was a point where I was like, for the span of 2 years, I had moved 3 times.
Jesus, that's more than I did. I thought I moved a lot.
So, and there were still like moves in between. So, yeah. So I've learned to travel light.
That's fair.
And not like accumulate a lot of junk, if that makes sense.
What were you saying, Tom?
I was saying, Good Smile sounds familiar, but it's probably
They're the ones who do Nendoroids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they also have pop-up parades.
The pop-up parade.
That's just another set of figures. They're what I would call probably like the middle grounds, where they're good quality, but they're also just not like too terribly expensive. I think typically they'll usually range about $35 to $45.
That's affordable. It's not too bad.
I feel like I would collect like anime weapons more than anything.
Ooh, one thing I've always wanted to get for a while was the scissor blades from Kill la Kill.
For me, it's Sodeno Shiroyuki from Bleach.
All right.
Rukia's sword.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for anything elegant looking.
I just love Kill la Kill, so I would love to get that thing. And it's such a because like whenever I feel like the the mark of the quote-unquote virgin has changed over time. Like, it used to be like, oh, if you watch anime or if you play games. And I think more recently it's if you own a sword. So if you own a sword, people are like, oh, cool, this guy has never seen a pair of boobs that's not on a computer screen.
Nah, I'm too much of a whore.
But I love the idea of like, it's like, oh yeah, I own a sword. Cool. Yeah, it's half a scissor.
Like, I thought you were gonna say like the mark of a virgin is now like saying some shit like the woke propaganda. There's a gay on my screen.
No, I wish that was the mark of a virgin, so they'd stop creating more people.
I'm pretty sure that is the mark of a virgin, because like, who the fuck is sleeping with you?
I
if you're saying
you say that, but it might not be, at someone's consent, because that crowd of people.
Yeah.
Damn.
They're bad. They're bad. They're bad. No.
I know they're bad, but I just thought they'd be like neats, like they'd just be smelly and like ugly looking.
They kind of are neats. That's the point.
Yeah. But some of them.
But no, a neat is like a hikikomori, where they like, stay indoors all day.
Yeah. Japan has a big problem with that.
Yeah.
That's why the population is going down. I think they're one of the few countries in the world where the population is going down. So about.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
It is very sad. Yeah. To the point where the fucking
like,
prime minister's like, "Can more of you have sex already?"
Yeah, I should go there and like tell them like, you guys need to fuck. I think it'd be fun.
See, the opposite problem is I'm like, so they're all like, it's like I want to stay inside. I'm like, it's like I mean I kind of get that, but I also like going out, and I also just want to be with somebody. Some people are like, I am, because I don't get. Some people are like, I am satisfied with my pillow or this other weird toy or not having anything, and I'm like, okay, the sex thing is one thing, but I want like a companion of an actual person, right? Someone I can talk to. Like the sexual aspect of a relationship is kind of secondary. I just want someone to be in love with,
I feel that.
Which is another form of people. With the sex toy is another form of collecting if you think about it.
Jesus Christ.
What the fuck?
You're such a whore.
I mean, it is a form of collecting because you're collecting items. They're just not.
Why would you do that?
John, you should get tested. You probably have like chlamydia or some shit.
I don't have any. I'm saying people who collect them are technically another form of collector.
How many STDs do you think Sean has?
See, that would require me having sex.
Double digits? I don't know.
What the fuck?
Honestly, same.
Bro. You're bad.
We love you, Sean.
If anything, there's not enough going on.
Sean, we gotta go to Japan and convince like a bunch of Japanese nerds to go clubbing.
I thought you were going to say go to Japan and get me a girlfriend, and I was about to be unfortunately, I'm not actually into Asian women.
No, my weakness is redheads for some reason. I think it's genetic.
Bro. Same.
What?
Almost all of my favorite waifus are redheads. I just like red hair. So there was one time I was at the register, and there was a woman who came up with like dyed black and red hair, and I'm sitting there trying not to stare because she was so pretty, and I was just like,
talking about gingers, but yeah, red hair, like dyed red hair.
I mean, gingers also, because like then again, that's just also back to my Irish heritage,
Yeah.
Like gingers, freckles, cute as shit. And
freckles are adorable.
Throw on some glasses, ma'am. Can I marry you? If no, then that's great. Have a nice day. But like she came up and she had like black and red hair. She was very pretty. And I'm like in my head saying, don't say anything. Don't say anything. She probably hears a lot every day. Don't say anything. Be respectful.
No, you should. That's how I got a lot of my tips when I used to work at Starbucks.
Well, I didn't want to say anything because I'm in the mindset that I feel like a lot of women don't really like getting complimented when it's unwarranted. Because
it depends.
First of all, it depends on the women. Like,
women don't like to get flirted with.
Yeah.
Unwarranted. But like, it's different when if it's like a compliment. You just have to be like chill
Like,
about it.
like it's like, oh hey, I really like your hair.
Yeah, it has to be like something.
But
like
in
that,
my mind, I was thinking
don't
of saying
fucking
like,
overdo it, or don't overdo it and be like, oh, your hair is the most beautiful fucking thing I've ever seen.
this is just Jesus. Like in my mind, I was thinking like if I was gonna say anything.
I did that and I scared my dog.
It's just, if I was gonna say anything, I would say you're beautiful. But I'm like, nope, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. That is that she probably hears that and doesn't, and just be respectful. So as soon as she left,
Aw, Sean is adorable.
as soon as she left, I literally was like, oh my god, she was so pretty. I literally just said that out loud, like I was holding my breath.
It do be like that sometimes. Like sometimes.
Whatever that lady is, I hope she has a great day. But yeah, like
Hope she has a great life with me
yes.
in it. What about you, Tom? You ever had an experience like that?
No.
You said that like you were judging us.
Sean, gotta take him clubbing with us.
You're going to Florida, right?
Maybe.
We're going clubbing, Tom.
We can go clubbing. See, Jackie said she wouldn't go clubbing because she doesn't really want to. But
What?
yeah, I asked her about it. And she was like, I don't really feel like doing that. Which is fair, you know. She's been
Now
through
I'm
a lot.
depressed.
Aw, did you want to go clubbing with Jackie?
Yeah.
Well, you'll still get a chance to hang out.
I suppose.
See, you two are gonna get along famously. I fucking know it.
Maybe in person, because like through text we just kind of stopped talking.
She's really bad at keeping up with people.
Honestly, same.
Like, she's...
Like, my form of communication, just sending memes.
Like, I'm bad at communicating with people, and I'm usually the one to initiate a conversation.
You know, that's fair. That's very true. That's very true.
So, but yeah, she's very different, like, obviously in person, or just, like, in voice call. But, you know, obviously you're in different servers typically, so you don't usually communicate like that. That's why I think you should join for a Dead by Daylight session.
I never played Dead by Daylight, and I'm terrible with horror.
It's not especially scary, trust me. It's more of a just horror themed. The most scary you'll get is if the killer pops in when you don't expect it.
Okay,
but if you're with a team, people will be like, "Oh fuck, the killer's going that way," you know.
Okay.
Like there's only been
like my reactions to horror can basically be summed up as that one Cardi B meme of her just being like, "What the fuck."
There's only been a few times where Dead by Daylight has scared me, but one of my favorite moments is when I scared Noah. Have I shown you that clip?
No, but I can imagine it. Oh my god.
So there's a character called the Dredge. The Dredge teleports through lockers.
Is that bitch with the fucking diver outfit?
No, the Dredge is the one that's like an amalgamation of different body parts.
Ew.
It is very unsettling. It is very cool. It's my favorite killer personally. But think of it kind of like the Thing.
Wait, if the Dredge was originally white and he like had a black person's face went onto him, would that be blackface?
Well, the Dredge is more of a amalgamation of people's harmful thoughts because it was made by a cult.
Oh.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be. Got it.
Yeah, no, it's an amalgamation of like harmful and repressed thoughts. So it's just pure evil.
Human centipede style.
Just less disturbing, funny enough. But it teleports through lockers. So on the school map, one of the extra add-ons you can get is when you teleport 3 times, you can see the aura of the players, only for a few seconds. So if you weren't really paying attention, oh no, I got a notification that one of the generators was finished. So I made a mad panic to teleport to the nearest locker, and Noah was heading towards the lockers to shut them, and I popped out directly in front of him. Directly. I had a great angle. I literally in my screen, because in Survivors they're third person, Killers are first person. In first person, I saw his face, his character's face,
Jesus,
clipping through, and I in his video he just goes, "Holy shit!" He shouts. He scared his neighbors. It is the funniest thing. It is my favorite clip I might have ever done in a game. Like, I remember I recorded that, and I out loud said, "Holy shit, that must have been a great angle on his end."
That's terrifying.
It is so fucking funny, and I love that clip so much. I'll send it to you. I'll find it and send it to you. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say outside of one other thing is like what other things would you collect besides like swords, do you think?
Definitely. Okay, so so to describe this, what else I would collect, I was just like tell a bit of a story.
Ooh.
Very short. So I started following this Instagram account called Mimono World, and he basically does like fan made apparel for like Sonic stuff. Like he had a Dark Chow jacket, and like he has Shadow slippers. So I'd probably like collect stuff like that.
Okay.
Where it's not like so much official merch as it is like, you know, fan made like clothing merch. Like I want to get fucking Nero's jacket from Devil May Cry 5.
Okay.
Like, that would be fucking goated. I would feel so fucking hot in that shit. I'd feel like fucking I could go to someone's funeral and then like fuck their widowed wife. You ever had that feeling, Tom?
No. That
See?
sounds pretty unethical.
See, the judging tone there was understandable now. I could hear the undertones of him going, "No, what?"
Damn, I thought you'd feel the same.
No.
What about you, Jonathan?
No, I wouldn't.
You say that, but your voice betrays you.
Fuck off! I'm still laughing at the absurdity of this. I wouldn't fuck someone's widowed wife. Oh my god! Look, I've already dated my friend's ex. I don't need to make it worse.
Yeah, well, it doesn't have to be your friend's widowed wife.
I mean,
it could just be like your enemies.
That doesn't really make it better. I feel like that kind of makes it worse, actually.
Nah.
Are there some things you want to tell us?
Not that I haven't already told you guys. This is gonna be the weirdest fucking episode.
Here's an open book. Look, any of these episodes are fucking meandering as shit because I'm always like, oh, I want to talk about this, and then I talk about like 8 different things. Which I mean is
you should put like out of con. We were talking about like remember when I said when I asked you like what I should do for shorts on YouTube?
Yeah.
You should do like fucking out of context like, shorts of what
That's
we
not a
say.
bad idea.
That'd be fucking golden.
That's not a bad idea.
Right? Dude, I'm a fucking genius. I got like 2 brain cells.
Hey, those 2 brain cells are competing for 3rd place, but sometimes one of them gets first.
Yeah.
Every so often.
Yeah. How many brain cells do you got, Tom?
Probably 1.
Honestly, that's a fat mood. I'll give you that.
Are you currently in possession?
Has at least 3.
Are you currently in possession of that one, or is it gone to someone else in the moment?
Oh, like shared custody?
It's like being in the air right now. Doesn't know where it's going.
He's looking for connections.
There's a page called Walter the Cat. He's a magic cat. He's a Balthazar Fee Fi Fo Faltazar the Third is his full name.
Why does this sound so familiar?
He's an orange cat. So to tell you a lot. And there's a lot of times where he's looking around, and his owner, she's just like, "Oh, you're looking for the brain cell? Did you get skipped again? That's the 2nd time this week." And he just looks blankly like he's a fucking dumbass. which he is.
Sounds like a cat.
I bet to say, sounds like my cat Jet, because he's just as fluffy and has just as lack of basic intelligence. Like, that cat is, a moron.
Now, my cats are always mean, but they love me.
See, I don't like mean cats, because I grew up with mean cats, and that's what attributed to my hatred of cats. Like, I hated cats, because I was scratched as a kid.
I love mean cats because they're mean to everyone but me.
See, if I was to have my own cat, and if it was to either start scratching me or scratch other people, I've seen videos of people having cats, and a married couple, and one they really love, and the other one they just start scratching. If that was my cat, I'd be like, all right, either get it trained or we're getting rid of it. Because there are points where you're doing nothing wrong, and the cat just like scratches you, and I'm like, if that was me, I'd be like, all right, honey, we need to talk.
I've never had a cat do that.
I've seen situations of that. It's like
I've seen that, but like I've never seen that in person. Is what I mean.
Yeah, true. Like
we're just chilling there, and then unprovoked, the cat is like fucking.
I think
bitch slaps you.
Yeah, generally, mean cats have to be provoked, and oftentimes they're mean because it takes very little to provoke them.
Yeah.
But like the ones that just like attack unprovoked, I'm like, okay, you either get trained or you are going elsewhere because you are not staying here. But to say that ain't
honestly
happening
totally understandable in that sense.
But like one of the things that contributed to me really liking cats, not as much as dogs, I still love dogs a lot more, is the two cats that are currently in the living room, because they're both very nice, very docile. And anytime they might scratch, because I've gotten scratched by Jet a few times, but it's also because I like messing with him, so it's a little understandable. And even when he scratches, it's not really that hard. Like I've bled.
It's playful scratches.
Like generally, it's playful scratches, but there are times where I've bled before, and I got cut on the foot one time, and I had to kind of limp because I was bleeding on my foot, and it hurt. But it went away in a few days. But like they don't really. And Eve, she is the definition of a scaredy cat. Whereas if you were in her proximity, she'll run away.
Honestly, getting cat scratches is kind of the nature of the beast because cats just have really sharp claws.
Yeah, and if you declaw your cats, then you're inhumane.
100%.
Yeah. So.
And you have like fucking. Your back hair grows faster than the hair on your head.
Damn, son.
I cursed someone with that once.
Alright, well, do we have any closing thoughts?
Do we?
I don't know, that's why I asked.
Yeah, I don't think we do.
Head empty. Don't do drugs and be gay. That's my closing thought.
All right. I guess you heard it here, folks. You know. Although I would say, don't do drugs and be whatever you want to be.
Oh yeah, I like that one too.
Yeah. Some people ain't gay. I ain't. But I also don't judge. You know. I have enough friends who.
In other words, short hair don't care.
Shit. But go.
I said the thing.
Don't do drugs unless they're medicine that you need to take to survive. And be whoever you want to be. And also, remember, kids, if you become smart, you become evil. Stay dumb.
Very true.
Good night.